Kees, Bruce. Kees, Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dzień dobry. That's just about all the Polish I know. So I'll carry on in English. Welcome to my workshop. It's good to see so many people interested in conflict resolution. You don't have any conflicts, by the way? No. Okay. When I grew up as a little boy in the Netherlands, I played outside a lot. Played with friends, but as friends do, sometimes you get a bust up. And then one day, I really got hit quite badly by my friend. So I started crying, basically ran up to my dad, who was working in the shed, crying. I said, "Dad, my friend, he hit me, Johnny hit me." Dad said, "Get out of here, hit him back." Conflict resolution in the 60s. Then when we moved into the 80s and 90s, we would handle it by saying, "I will talk to my lawyer. You will get a letter from my lawyer." But we have moved on from that. We have moved in the 21st century, where we really would like to try to resolve conflict by talking. And in Toastmasters, we do talk a lot, which could mean that there could be a conflict, also within Toastmasters. But what is a conflict? We talk about the conflict in the Middle East. We have been talking about the conflict in Iraq. But is that really a conflict? Is that the conflict we talk about in Toastmasters? No. We not take to weapons, although your tongue could be a very potent weapon. So be careful with what you say. So let's first focus on what we would like to see as conflict. Conflict is a situation in which a Toastmaster or Toastmasters observe a threat. It could be emotional. It could have to do with physical. It could have to do with a lot of things. But that threat, it's a threat to their well-being. So for instance, me standing here in orange shirt, because the Netherlands are playing tonight, so I'm supporting them as from this morning onwards, and every day when I have worn this shirt, they have been winning, so hopefully tonight as well. That could be a conflict for some of you. Maybe you could think, what's that guy doing there up with an orange t-shirt? So conflict can be all sorts of things. Sometimes a conflict can be something that we may not even perceive as a conflict. And that's where the danger lays. If you don't look at it as a conflict, you may think, it will blow over. Let me tell you, it will never, ever blow over. It will hit you, buff, square in the face, one day when you don't expect it. So what are possible causes of conflict? Anyone? What could be a cause of conflict?
Orange t-shirt.
Good one, good one.
Misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding.
Different opinions.
Different opinions. Emotions. Sorry? Jealousy. Power.
Women.
Women. Do I hear the women say man?
No.
Sorry? Money.
Family.
Family. Vision. You can tell here with these answers, which you may see somewhere in this list, that there is a huge pool of conflict. By the way, POV, point of view. When you have a conflict or when you get to do with a conflict, There are always three elements in a conflict. Always. No matter what the conflict is about. And these elements are an element of procedure, an element of substance, and an element of psychology. The last one you may struggle a bit with, but have you ever been in a kind of conflict where people were getting very emotional? Or where people were getting underneath your skin, really scratching you to make you upset and that's the psychological part. But we're talking here, obviously, Toastmasters. Does Toastmasters have a procedure in handling conflicts? Yes, we do. Anyone ever seen this document? It is the governing document of Toastmasters International. It's about 260 plus pages. If you have a question, if you seek an answer, there you will find the answer. It is readily available to any one of you by going to the Toastmasters website. You go in the search box, type in governing documents, buff comes up, and you can download it. Because in this document, there is a part which deals with ethics and policies. The policies and protocol, policy 3, ethics and conduct, chapter 1, standards, sub D, and it's on page 143, by the way. So mark that. Read this. Because we are here club officers or club members. Each club, not Toastmasters International, is legally and practically responsible for resolving personal conduct issues within the club. So if there is a conflict in your club, don't knock on my door as district governor. It has to be resolved within the club. If it is a club member, you give notice to your club president. The club president may decide to resolve the conflict, or he may seek assistance of the area governor. Also, and that's another nice thing for you to know, because Toastmasters International obviously can get in trouble. However, your club is not liable. So Toastmasters International cannot knock on your door as a club. Who signed a membership application form? I hope all of you. Otherwise we do have illegal Toastmasters here. When you signed that form, did you read the form? Did you read the small print? Okay, I will highlight one little bit of the small print. It's highlighted in yellow. And it says that you will refrain from any form of discrimination, harassment, derogatory, illegal, or unethical conduct. So you have basically made the promise not to entertain any conflicts. However, when did you sign this form? Whenever do you look again at this form? You will look at this form when you get into a conflict. You have to resolve the conflict. Because if it has to do with this, that is your backup. To say, look, when you signed up as a member, you promised the club, you promised Toastmasters International to do this, 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 and this. Why are you behaving like this? So, there's one way of helping you. How do you go about this? It's called in English a whistleblower protection. I think in Europe it has a bit of a negative implication because we don't like whistleblowers so much. We think of them as people, oh, what did you think when you were doing that behind my back? But we have to see it in a positive light. It is a procedure how you can go about it when you're not happy with something in your club, when you think that that could grow into a conflict, or it is maybe already a conflict. Always, always written. Write it down. Don't walk up to your president and say, Adam, by the way, John, what is he up to in our club? Park it, write it down, then send it to the next leader. So that's your president in your club. If the president himself may have a complaint, he can't complain to himself, so he will complain to the area governor. From the area governor, it goes up to the division governor. From the division governor, it goes up to the district leader team. So it will never, never, ever happen that it goes from club president to district governor. It's why I was saying 5-6 minutes ago, don't knock on my door. And I don't have a bell either. However, you get a response, and you may not happy with that response. Well, then you step in a rocket, and you fly straight away to the executive director. So you pass all over your district, straight into the United States, the executive director who will look into the matter. So that's your procedure. Resolution. When there is a conflict, take action. Pay attention to prevention. It's so important. When you even only feel that something is brewing, pay attention to it. Because we know about mushrooms. We see only a little bit above the ground. But underneath, it's massively big. Look for mutual gain. How often is it in trying to resolve a conflict that you only think about what's in it for me, rather than trying to think in the shoes of that other person and think, where is he or she going here? What do they want to achieve? Think of both sides. Also, when you think of a solution, how many of you would be focused on something that they want to achieve as an outcome? That is what I want to have out this resolution as a result of talking to this person. How many would have something like that in mind? All of you? So you tend to focus on that thing you want to achieve. One of the things I can tell you about this is think also about the fact, if I want to have this as an outcome, if I don't reach that outcome, what is the next thing I would be happy with? Think about alternatives. Not focus on just one particular outcome. Like, this member has to move out of the club. Buff, kick him out of the club. There are probably other possibilities. In any resolution, keep focused. And how many discussions have you been where the discussion starts and all of a sudden somebody says something, somebody else says something, and before you know it, we're talking about McDonald's and Starbucks. And the whole problem is not even in view anymore. So keep focused. If you put the 4 first letters together, it says,
Talk. Talk. Talk.
because that's what we do as Toastmasters, yeah? Talk. When you talk, though, you have a certain style of communication. People do communicate in different ways. And this is where your exercise comes in. You have been given a bit of paperwork. On that paperwork, you will find 40 pairs of statements. They are all numbered 1 to 80. And what you have to do is make a choice between 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Don't take too long. It should be of Polish, tak, tak, tak. Yeah? So don't take too long. Then on the final sheet, you have to transfer your answer. On the very final sheet, you will find the numbers 1 to 80 again, in 4 communication styles. Style 1, 2, 3, and 4. I will give you to fill this out 5 minutes. Yeah, sorry? We can ask for light. And then there was light. I'm sorry, I'm not God. There was a technician sitting there at the end. You can come up on the stage here. There's plenty of light here. Is it really difficult to see? Yeah. I don't know. Say again? No, I had 100 printed and they're all being handed out. So are there anywhere forms laying on a chair doing nothing? Just out of interest and not interrupting in your exercise, is there anyone in the room who does not have the paperwork? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe you can join with someone who does have one, have a look over his or her shoulder. And I will put the whole thing on Easy Speak anyway, so there's always time to do it again. Who has not yet reached the stage of starting filling out that summary at the final page? Okay. When you are finished, please stand up, because it has 2 purposes. 1, you can stretch your legs, and 2, I can see that you're finished. Because due to time, I'm not going to carry this on and wait till really everyone is finished. You can finish it then off at your own leisure. It's just that I would like to have some results so we know where we are going with this. Yeah, probably 1 more minute, and then we should proceed. Okay, thank you very much. You can sit down again then, and we carry on. Thank you, and you obviously want to know what we're going to do with this, because what does it tell me? That I'm communication style 5? Not much. Who has the most points in communication style 1? In 2? In 3? In 4? Good. You will be one of these people. You are in action. An action style of communication. With that, probably 3 words may come to mind. You are very direct. You go from A, poof, straight to B. Not like this. You will be decisive and very energetic. Action. Process. We're probably very familiar with that word these days. You're very systematic, you think logical, and you have oodles of patience. You can see the sun go up, down, very patient. Or you have the style of people communication. You are spontaneous. Yes, yes, yes. Emotional. Oh, do we really have to do that? But you like to work in a team. And finally, the 4th one, the idea. You're imaginative. You can build all kinds of things in your mind. You are creative, but you can also be provocative. So where are you in one of these 4? There you are. Action is style 1. Process are the people with the most points in style 2. Style 3, people. Style 4, ID. You may think, yeah, but what does this have to do with conflict resolution? I think a lot, because if you know how some people communicate, you can try to relate to that. Have we noted this? Or, as I said, it's going to be on easy speak, so there's no reason to be panicking about it. When you're in a conflict, have you ever noticed that people behave in a certain way? And sometimes even behave in a way that you think, that's weird. I've never seen that of that person. Where did that come from? It has to do with styles of behavior. And the styles of behavior I'm going to talk about, no matter which style you will look at, all of these styles are somewhere within us. It only depends on the circumstances that it will be brought out of you. And some people have the habit of a certain style regardless. The behavior works along 2 axes. One is the axis of assertiveness. You're either very unassertive or very assertive, which means when you're very assertive, you are very confident, you can conquer the world, nothing is too much, you will get there regardless, that kind of things. On the other axis, we look at the cooperativeness. So how cooperative are you? What's the willingness to be part of it? When somebody is very unassertive, very uncooperative, very often in a conflict, they will avoid the conflict. They are the ones I was talking about before. Please go away. I don't want to know about it. I'm not interested. Someone who is very assertive but very uncooperative is competing. And no matter what you're going to say, I will win. I'm not interested in your argument. Park it. Go home. I will win, regardless. Ever heard that from someone? Not maybe in those words, but as behavior. Accommodating. Okay, then let's do it. Both are a win-lose situation. Someone will win. In the avoiding, both will lose, because there's no resolution. Then in the middle there is the compromising. What if we do this? Then I won't talk any further about that. Trade-off. I'll give you this, you give that to me. I'll forget about this when you want to forget about that. Compromising. But both will lose elements. So therefore there is only one really good behavior in any conflict resolution, and that is collaboration. Work together. Look for solutions. Enlarge the pie, as they say. Sometimes we only think there are one or two solutions to a thing. But if you start to talk about it in a human way, it may be different. People with the idea, they may come up with something. People who communicate with process say, okay, let's wait there for a moment, let's look at this first. So these communication styles do come in your behavior as well. It's interlinked. It are not just stars on the heaven. It is all interlinked. As I said, nobody is only just avoiding. Somebody is not only compromising. You drift through this matrix. Sometimes you may choose to be avoidant. It may be your choice. Okay, scenarios. Because we are here all Toastmasters, and yesterday in the preliminary I heard people talking about in our club we do have a lot of problems. Not that a problem is necessarily a conflict, but I want to talk about it. So is there anyone out here who can think of a situation? Remember, conflict is a situation where there is a threat to someone's well-being. Anyone? Yep, please stand up, and hopefully we can all hear your scenario. And I just repeat for the ones who could not understand, an overly critically evaluation for a Toastmaster who was sensitive. How? What do you have to do first? Any answers? What would you do first? What would your approach be? Anyone? Come on, it's a workshop. I'm not only doing the work here. You have to talk. Okay. What's the weather like today? Sunny?
Understand different points of view.
Understand different points of view. Okay, so we're going to talk. Who are you going to talk to? The evaluator? Aha, we're getting warm, we're getting warm. You're not only talking to the evaluator, you talk to the speaker as well. Maybe you want to start off with both individually first, and there it comes in, collaboration. There will be a point in time where you have to set those two people together. Not that they carry on in the club with thoughts in their mind, thinking, oh my God, that was a nasty evaluation. I hate the person. Each time when the speaker walks through the door, puff, red head. Something is brewing. How can you only solve that conflict? By having those two people together and talk to them together. Because we all know this, that when we talk about truth, there are three. There's my truth, there's your truth, and there's the real truth. And you can only get to the bottom of that by talking together. When would you talk in this scenario? When would you talk? Leave it alone for the next meeting, or, oh, okay, I will phone that person, or maybe an email will do. Maybe we can have a Skype call, or hang out on Google.
Leave some time to cool off, but not too much. The best conflict handling is pretty immediate, while however the parties need to have some of the emotions cooled off.
Okay. So your suggestion would be that at the end of this meeting, because usually the agenda is that the evaluations are towards the end of the meeting, so the event is fairly fresh, so maybe at the end of this particular meeting might be too soon, you think? Okay.
If the feedback is very, very cutting, and you can see that there's a lot of emotion, it might be a lot better to wait for them to
Who does agree with that statement? Let the parties cool down a bit. Who agrees with that statement? Who disagrees? What would you do then?
I think if you will give people to think too much, they will focus on what is not true in fact. I would like to hear the truth directly after the meeting, because then I will create bad thoughts in my mind and I will feel even worse after.
Yep. Who agrees with that statement? So, okay, maybe they only need 5 minutes to cool down anyway, you know, but it's still all fresh. And it's like with strawberries, you eat them fresh. When you leave them on the bench for a week, yucky. Yeah. So, not always. So there is already a disagreement between the two approaches. That's why it's called conflict resolution. There is no one recipe, folks. You have to be motivated to solve that conflict. If you see something happening like this, the critical evaluation, a speaker who gets really upset about this, don't look around. Hey, is somebody going something to do about this? If you feel obliged to step up and talk to these people. Hey, that was a bit harsh. Why did you do that? Always useful. Ask for the why. Ask the person, why was that done? So, we've got 2 minutes left in my presentation. Is there anyone else with one more scenario, quickly? I knew that was becoming. Yeah, Bill?
Okay, so there was this girl in our club. She gave a speech. It was obvious she did not read the manual. It was a very emotional speech about how she was broken into her apartment. This guy tried to attack her and everything. So she got an evaluation. At the end of the meeting, the general evaluator stood up and started to attack the woman, saying that she didn't read the manual. Her speech wasn't useful to anybody. And then, and there were 5 guests at the meeting. And one of the guests said to the general evaluator, well, can you tell us what was the goal of the speech? Now, the general evaluator, in my mind, is not really supposed to have a discussion with guests, and it's not supposed to be attacking people. So I'm the president of the club. I stood up, and I walked towards the general evaluator in the middle of the room, and I said, maybe I can help answer the question. He turned to me in front of everybody and said, sit down! I said, okay, I didn't want to create a scene in front of all the guests and everything. So what I did was afterwards I said to him, let's go for coffee.
That's a good idea. Excuse me, the time is over.
The time is over.
I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you.
We finished.
Because I wanted to finish with this.
Getting to yes.
Getting to yes, transform conflict into a productive